Okay, so task three, installing a switch. We're going to go over a single switch, a three-way switch, and a four-way switch. Um, Basically, all of the same principles in regards to wiring an outlet apply to installing a switch. You want to basically um, wrap the wires around the screws, not stab them in. These ears, they function the same way as an outlet. So, if you notice a gap between the box and the ears of the device, when you put the cover plate on, it's going to look crooked. So you use these basically, you want to make sure, once you screw them down and they're flush, and now you put the cover plate on, um, you're not going to have that weird bend in the device, and it's going to look nice. For switches where you only control the light from one location, you really only need two wires in a box. Um, oops. One of the wires is going to come from the panel, or it's going to be fed from some other device. The other wire is going to go to a load, such as a light, or some type of fixture. Now, that doesn't mean you can't have like four wires in here. You just wire nut, if that's the case, you wire nut all the feeds together. And but basically, what you're going to do is you're going to tie the grounds together of the two wires, okay? And then they're going to go on the green screw of the switch. Then you're going to take the neutral wires and you're going to twist those together, tie them together. Now you're left with two wires, two black wires in the box. It doesn't matter which wire you stick on which screw, okay? So I could take this wire, put it up here, this wire down here. It's still going to act, as a switch. So that doesn't matter. When you get to three-way switches and four-way switches, it does matter. But, for these single switches, it does not matter. It's really kind of that easy. So we'll just kind of move on to the three-way switches. On a three-way switch, you can control a light from two locations. So basically, we'll turn the breaker on here. This switch will turn on the light, and then this switch over here will also operate the light. And, it should work in any position on a three-way switch if you apply it correctly. Basically, what you do is on these switches, you'll have the common screw, and you will stick the wire that's being fed from the panel on the common screw. And then you will have a 14-3 going between the two boxes. And the white wires, the white wire from the 14-3, you're going to tie together to the neutral wire from the panel, and then the white wire from the 14-3 over here, you're going to tie from the neutral wire going to the light. So basically, on one side, you're going to have the wire coming from the power. On the other side, you're going to have the wire going to the load, okay? And on this side, the wire going to the load, the black wire going to the load, is going to be tied to the common screw. And now, essentially what you're left with is the black and red from the 14-3, okay? So these are what you call the traveler wires, all right? And you will hook them up to screw below the common wire and then the screw right across from it. Okay, so I like to be consistent with my wires. So I have my common wire coming from the panel. Right above it, I have the red travel wire. I do the same thing over here. I got my common wire going to the load. I have my red travel wire right above that. The other travel wire goes right across from here. That's pretty much it for three-way switches. I do want to just point out when you are installing the wires, notice how, when you're tucking the wires back in the box, I like to do an S shape, okay, and stick them back there. I like to make sure my ground wires on one side and then my hot wires are on the other side, okay? And so, and this kind of it makes it easier so that when you're shoving it back in here, that the ground wire doesn't accidentally touch one of the hot wires, and that'll short it out. Okay, and so I like to keep my wires straight and clean so that I can S-shape them back into the box. If you kind of get sloppy with it and you see this ground wire here is kind of like going under the travelers, and then it's going around one of the travelers, and then it's hooking up to the ground. Like if you stick this back in the box, you're more susceptible for this ground wire to like come in contact with one of the screws while you're sticking it in there. And you may not notice it until everything's made up, it's all pushed in, and then you turn the circuit breaker on, and then it trips, and then you got to figure out what you did. So just try to be clean with it, and just try to keep straight lines always, so that you can bend them back in the box without it causing you a headache later. Very last thing I want to talk about is I'll remove the dustpan, because as everybody knows, electricians clean up their messes. We will remove this. This is my four-way switch. And for a four-way switch, you will be able to turn on a light from 3 different locations. A four-way switch always goes in the middle of the 2 three-way switches. So this will click here, 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 and you just go back. And in any position, the load will turn on. So one thing to, four-way switches are pretty simple, very simple to hook up. And anytime, if you're not sure the box is in between the 2 three-way switches, a good indicator is if you only have 2 14-3 wires in this box. If you've just got 2 14-3 wires in this box, that's where your four-way switch device will go. You'll tie your grounds together, you'll tie your neutral together, and now this is the tricky part that gets everybody caught up. Sam, I don't know if you can zoom in here, but you'll notice on the back of this device, it'll say in, out, out. So the 14-3 wires coming in this box, I'm going to stick right here. And the 14-3 wires going out of this box, I'm going to stick on the 2 wires, the 2 terminals that say out. That's true with this particular four-way switch. There are some four-way switches where the ins are across from each other and the outs are across from each other. But they're always etched onto the device on whether they're vertical or horizontal. If for some crazy reason you don't see it on the device, you'll look at the box, and on the inside of the box, it'll be diagrammed out for you. And that's pretty much it.